Howdy. Happy Friday. We are live, I hope. I think it's working. Yes, I think Paul. Oh, you're on. You're on. Okay. I was worried you were still out.
We'll find out.
Okay, cool. We'll do it live. Yeah, welcome to a very cool special edition of Atomics on a Friday where Paul's microphone may or may not work and my kids may or may not be hungry on the other side of that door without breakfast. No, we got a good one. This is awesome. I'm really excited. I'll bring him in. Let's bring him in. Everybody's here for him anyway. So Anton, I'll drop you in on the channels here. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, super excited.
Yes, I'm stoked. I've been referring people to your project. So,
Thank you.
And I'm really excited for you to share it. We'll do this live, and I have my cool artwork. I got to share that.
Of course.
And then, yeah, probably don't need a crazy intros. I think everybody may or may not know who we are. But yeah, I'm Mike. Thank you for joining. If you're new to the channel, you can follow us on Twitter. It's Atomics on a Fry. One day we'll get the day, and or you can follow us. Yeah. Paul, are you still working?
Oh, is this me?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was your segue.
That was the cue.
I'm Paul. I'm the other person on the opposite side of Mike. Also, everything Mike just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Anton.
Yeah.
Yes.
My name is Anton. Anton loves D&B on Twitter. Yeah, the third person there that's not Mike with a beard in the slide.
Yes. Awesome. So I think the hottest topic of the day is we want to show off Anton's sweet course called Constructing Defense. And yeah, I think kind of off the bat, like my first question is what inspired you to go and build Constructing Defense?
Yeah, I guess just experience doing purple teams was the main justification for it. I think like throughout my career personally, and from what I've seen others do, I think like a lab is super important in this sphere. Just being able to like try something out yourself and tinker with it has always been like a huge like benefit for me. That's how I learned. And I think too, like I remember when I first did my OSCP, I was like I was in the InfoSec sphere, but more on the like compliance side of things, so I wasn't like too technical. And I thought like, oh, this would be a cool challenge for me to dive into, and it like took so much work to do. But like the thing I loved about it the most is all the like auxiliary stuff that you learn. It wasn't so much about like the exploits and the hacking and all that. It was more like, how do I use the Linux terminal well, and like command lines and all this like auxiliary stuff. So I really like that hands-on approach. And I know there's a bunch of like projects out there like Detection Lab and all these other courses where like you get access to like a pre-built lab, and I think that's great. You know, I'm not trying to like compete with that, but there's something about just like building your own lab step by step, like turning on the telemetry yourself so that you know where the command lines are coming from, where like every little bit of telemetry in that lab is coming from, how to configure it, how to get it into a SIEM. I think all that's super important on top of the actual like TTPs and executions. I think the actual like sysadmin-ish portion of it is interesting. So that's what kind of inspired me to do a course like this, in a way to like make it accessible for people. I think like the price is decent, and you're not paying like thousands of dollars for it. You know, it's only $150, and even cheaper with the coupon code that we're going to offer today. And yeah, just in general, I think it's just a great like thing that even when you're like, the course is lifetime, so you know you have access, like you're done the course and you still have the lab after it to like poke at your own pace and all that. So yeah, all those words. That's my
Yeah. That's It is super cool. Yeah, I know. I remember back in the day getting started, and I'll age myself, but the whole back in server 2003 days,
Yeah.
2000 days, and trying to build a little lab at home and having used physical machines, and pretty sure we had like VMware like desktop or something, and
Right.
you're trying to run it on like 8 gigs of RAM
Yeah.
because 16 was expensive. And
Right.
yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I dig it, especially with the tech nowadays. Like anybody can host these things locally and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's super cool.
There's an option to, when I first kind of envisioned the course and brought it up, it was mostly like local based, but since then I added an option to do it in AWS. So you have like
Oh, cool.
a
That's
Terraform
great.
script. Yeah, you just run the script and it builds like the skeleton of the lab, like just the VMs, and then you go and you configure them just the same as you would if it was like on your local VMware workstation
Yeah,
or VirtualBox or whatever.
that is cool. Yeah, because there's definitely multiple aspects. Folks will. I mean, I love the idea of building it locally, especially when you're getting started. You're just kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't have AWS and GCP or whatever, but like being able to toss it together locally is great because most people have a pretty powerful desktop these days or
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually
something.
finding that most people are choosing like the local aspect, and they have like an ESXi setup and stuff like that, or an old like
That's cool.
Proxmox VM. So
Yeah, VMware is gone.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it's headed. Maybe if we talk in a year from now, it'll be a different orientation. But
I know. Another open source one, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So what kind of can you, I guess, if you want to share your screen, maybe walk us through maybe like the lab diagram or kind of how it's architected together.
Yeah, yeah. Let me do that. Let me just juggle my windows around here and figure out how to share the screen.
Oh yeah, there's a present button down there, and then you do share screen.
I think I got it.
Nice. I will swap this up here.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
We're in live.
Yeah, live screen share. Here we go. So yeah, this is I'm logged in right now with my little test account.
Cool.
But if you're kind of like not logged in and seeing this page, some things to look out for is obviously like the requirements part. There is some little like to sign up for the SIM, you need like a non Gmail Hotmail account, and just general like hardware requirements. And if you do like the cloud parts of the lab, like there is a little bit of a cost that I try to be as transparent as possible. Like I literally put the screenshot of what it cost me, but obviously like different cloud regions, depending on how you use it,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, there is a little bit of a cost. So just like read all that. And then there's like the general diagram, and this is like a more like an artistic diagram. It's not exactly like a technical diagram, but there's a lot going on in the course. There's a lot of components. So basically, you start off with building like just a Windows domain called condef.local, and then there's a PCAP appliance called Malcolm, which is just
cool.
it's like the most fun InfoSec tool ever. If you haven't heard of Malcolm, it's like Archime, but with Zeek on top of it and a whole bunch of other stuff like Circata and all that on top of it.
That's
just
awesome.
just a ton of fun to use. And then there's two Linux machines, Linux A and Linux V. And then one of those Linux machines hosts a Kubernetes cluster with Minikube on it. And then you sign up for an AWS account and an Azure account. And then you sign up for a Sumo Logic SIM account as well. And then you access the SIM and you access your lab. And you do your executions, then you go and query for that stuff. And there's actually there's a lot of like telemetry sources, and a lot of like you have Windows, you have your Active Directory logs, you have sysmon logs, you have PCAP to work with, you have like Kubernetes telemetry, you have Linux telemetry, cloud telemetry, obviously. So there's like a lot.
Yeah.
There's
I know even like Kubernetes, and it's quite the crew.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big collection of items, and some like some sections. Obviously, it's hard to dive deep into each and every one of these. Like I don't want to make the claim that when you're done this, you'll be like a Kubernetes security expert, or this is not a boot camp, nothing like that. But you will dip your toes and get like a decent start of like getting your feet wet into this kind of thing if you've never worked with Kubernetes before, or if you've never worked with like Active Directory logs before, or anything like that.
Yep.
And yeah, then there's
That's
like
cool.
a MITRE heat map, and this covers the techniques that are covered in the course. And I actually have been updating the course recently, so I think this is a little bit out of date. That's my bad. I need to update this a little bit. And then there's a big Q&A section here. I tried to cover mostly everything that somebody would want to know. You do get a certificate when you're done the course, so you can submit your CPEs and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's I don't know exactly how CPEs are calculated, but I think at this point there's about 7 hours of video content on there. So it's quite a bit of time that or quite a bit of CPEs that you can potentially submit when you're done this. And there's just a whole bunch of like Q&As in here. One thing I'll point out is if you're a student or looking for work or something like that, and the price is too much, just hit me up. Happy to work with people.
That's
I'd
cool.
rather someone take it than not. So
Yeah, I could definitely see there's a lot of benefit for like a university students or something like that, like trying to get into these different topics, and especially when it comes to like Kubernetes and Kubernetes security, just like off the top of my head, like that's pretty hot right now. Like I don't think many folks, especially defenders, are getting those events and being able to sift through them. I think that's really cool.
yeah. The thing I found about like Kubernetes specifically when I was diving into it is like the different layers that things are happening at, because you have like you run like a kubectl command, right? And that's like the host layer. But then kubectl just wraps an API request, and that's like the Kubernetes layer. And like sticking that all together and figuring out, like when you scan a cluster or something like that, like where that telemetry is generated and how to get a grip on it, it has been like a big challenge. So yeah, this is that's why in the course, when I'll show you in a bit, like when you dive in, there's like a host layer, network layer, the Kubernetes, like the kubelet layer itself, like the API layer. There's just like a whole lot going on.
That's awesome.
And yeah, there's I think like these days, right? There's a lot of like AI generated content on there. It would probably be easy for me to just type into ChatGPT or whatever, like, hey, like generate me a Purple Team course or Purple Team-ish course, and there's no AI content in here whatsoever. The everything is written, recorded by me. So if you see a mistake or see something that like, man, who did this stupid thing? It's me. It's all me. So I take full responsibility. No AI or anything like that.
Yeah, I know, kind of sifting through the kind of like just a preview on the site here, like you can tell like GPT can't just pump out these great screenshots and whatnot either, and or even probably the queries that
Right.
are specific to Sumo or whatnot.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. There's no AI here, and yeah, I'm signed in here. But if you're browsing it without a login,
Oh
some
yeah,
of
there you
these,
go.
some of these will have like a preview. So if you have like, if you want to know what a lesson looks like, I think there's like 2 or 3 of them that are set to like preview mode that you can actually check out before you sign up. So yeah, I guess I'll just dive in right into the course itself. So this is the welcome and intro video here is available for public. You can see it without signing up. And in the video, I think I mentioned that the course is 1 year, and that's since changed. So I need to re-record the intro video, but check out the FAQ. The FAQ has the latest. And then there's a change log, because I do keep adding to it over time. I feel like it's kind of important to do that, to like build on the lab and what exists. There's just a lot of cool stuff that you can do with a lab like this that has, cloud, on-prem, containerized telemetry and all that good stuff. So yeah, there's 2 new lessons that I put in since the course was like made public. The first one is endpoint analysis with Hayabusa and LangChain. This one was pretty interesting. It's basically actually I'll just click on it to show what it looks like here. So basically, like you're in the previous like iterations of the course, right? Everything is like sim based, real time, and like obviously, like when stuff pops off, you might not have all the telemetry going into your sim, right? There might be stuff on the host, and Hayabusa is like really really powerful to be able to run Sigma rules on the event log like locally, right?
Yeah.
And the output of that is just JSON file. So I used LangChain here to actually go ahead and analyze the output of Hayabusa so that you can ask it like general questions in natural language to say like, hey, what are the tables of rules that you found, or what are the events marked as critical? Just give me like a pie chart kind of thing, and it works pretty well. Yeah, like all things AI, there's like sometimes you ask it something super simple and it'll just like give you some weird answer. So definitely, experimental. That's for sure. Don't be like using LangChain for your production IRs or anything like that. But it's definitely fun to play around with in this lab.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very novel. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a really good ad.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it just because in a lot of the course we're just pure sim, right? And
Yeah.
switch it up a little bit and use something like this. Um, then the other lesson that I added that was new, I think it was last weekend or 2 weeks ago now, was the session hijacking via cookie theft. And if you know me, like I love cookie theft. I think it's like my favorite technique, just because it's just so like I don't know. Everyone, it's just funny to me. Everyone's always focused on like LSAS and like Mimikatz, and then you could just like pluck a little cookie out of there neatly, and then here you go. Here's your Azure session. Um, so we go through like installing White Chocolate Macadamia Nut. So big shout out to Justin Bowie for writing that tool. Again, like I love that tool. I love like cookie theft and stuff. So yeah, these are what the lessons look like. It's all step by step. I try to be as obnoxious as possible with the screenshots because I know that when you're
Yeah,
trying to
it
follow,
helps.
like, yeah, like you're following technical instructions and you have that like one little piece that's missing and you're just like, am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? So there's screenshots aplenty, and then there's a video. Um, so if you're like more of like a visual type of learner where you need a video, there's a video. If you don't like videos at all, it's all in the screenshots anyway. Yeah, and I'm not on the video, like I'm not on the webcam in the video, so it's just text or just video,
Cool.
not my face or anything on there.
Yeah.
And
There's
yeah,
some,
it's just
there's some D&B in there. This is what I just heard.
some D&B music. Yeah, I should have, but I didn't. And yeah, this is just it just goes through kind of step by step, like walks you through the attack, and then in the later sections we actually go ahead and query for it. And this is the other cool thing about this lab is that like if we don't have telemetry for something, we can actually go ahead and like edit this small config file, get the telemetry that we need, which is exactly what we do here. And then there's like explainers for everything, queries at all the different layers, the Azure layer and the host layer.
That is
sorry.
very, very detailed.
Yeah, I tried to be because
Yeah, that's
you're starting from nothing, right? Like,
yes.
If you're like newer to this stuff, you might not know like how to compile the tool or how to run the tool, or how to run the query and all that. So I thought it was important to be as detailed as possible. I should mention too that like every section has a mind map on it at the end. I'm
nice.
a huge fan of that mind map concept, and it just kind of goes over what you just did. Because I found even myself when I finished like writing the sections, I was like, what was this section even about? Like, what did it start with? What was it about? So the mind map kind of helps me stay organized as well.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think we have an atomic red team friend. I think he teaches at a university, I think in Washington. He's probably watching. And I know he has a lot of students probably looking for great content like this. So if he's watching, I'm sure he's getting extremely jazzed right now.
Yeah, hit me up.
Yes.
Happy to work with that person. Yeah.
Fun. Gotta find the LinkedIn, but yeah, sure he's watching. But dude, this is great. It's mind blowing. It's a lot of details.
Yeah, there's quite a
Do
bit.
you kind of like foresee maybe shipping a new module like monthly, or just kind of as you see or as you run through things?
Yeah, I guess it like as time allows. This is like a one person shop. I have a lot of ideas. I know like the AWS section is a little light, so I really want to beef that up a little bit. The other section I had in mind is just a general like Kerberos attack section. I know there's been a lot of like Kerberos tradecraft in the last few, I want to say months, years, like especially with like Andrew Schwartz and stuff, like his blogs.
Yep.
And then just the general, like pass the ticket, golden ticket kind of stuff. I would love to do a module on that because it's interesting because there's certain like Kerberos techniques that you can detect in the event logs, and there's some that you can't. Right, you need a tool to do it. So that is interesting to me when it's like not really a straightforward thing. Like you do A and then you query it. I like to show like the nuance part of it and where like if there's a gap or a different way to detect it. So that's those are the kinds of things I'm looking to do. There's probably a whole bunch of like other Kubernetes things that I could do as well. I know since I did the course, there's been a new release of Malcolm that I think supports J4 now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. That would be sweet. So we covered J3 a little bit in this class, but yeah, I would love to do kind of more of that as well. So yeah, planning on as much as I can adding new modules. Like I think there's already been 2 since I released the course. So yeah, maybe not quite one a month, but one every couple months for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're already at 75 lessons. So
Yeah, there's quite a bit there too, and yeah, the thing that I really wanted to do is to make it so that when you're kind of like done the executions like in the lab itself, that there's other tools that you can use. Like for Kubernetes, for example, I don't know, four lessons, but then
mhm.
in the 5th we set up Kubernetes Goat, which is like a vulnerable by design Kubernetes deployment, so that you have like something to poke at once you're done the actual lessons. And that's kind of like a theme throughout. Like at the end, we set up Atomic Red Team as well.
Cool.
And we set up Vector, and I go over how to run atomic tests with the logger component so that when you run the tests, the data is in Vector as well. So that kind of sets you up to do like the full suite of Atomic Red Team, and you have all the lab, you have the clouds set up and all that. So you're like, primed to go to do your like atomic testing. And yeah, again, like as detailed as I could possibly make it. Right?
Yeah,
Just so
that's
you see you're not
amazing.
missing any steps. Yeah. And then on the Azure section, we set up Azure Goat. I think or sorry, not Azure Goat, Badger. So shout out to Mauricio and this really
Nice.
awesome project.
Yes.
And then yeah, this is the thing this is what I love about the course, is that you can like use these projects that are out there for the community. But I think the value add in the course is that we set up not just like Badger, but we set up Badger, run Azure Hound on that data, and then we use the SIEM to actually query all that stuff. So whatever Badger did, the actual like Azure Hound execution, we query for all that too. So it's like bringing everything together. So you're not just running Badger for the sake of it. You're actually doing something with it after, where you're actually like mapping out the attack pass that it creates. So yeah, shout out Mauricio again, super awesome project. It's so handy, and especially if you love Bloodhound, just being able to like see the Badger attack paths and see how all of them play out and stuff is really cool. And then yeah, here we query the new graph.
That's awesome.
Data source.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think too, as like a defender, there's some things where we don't get to see every day. Like if you run Azure Hound or even like Bloodhound and you're trying to understand the query language or just how to use it, it's not every day you're spinning these things up and playing with them, you know, in a live environment. So I think that's why labs are definitely important for probably any experience level, you know, being able to spin these things up and play with and just understand how they work, especially because tools are flying around weekly, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
it's nice to have an environment ready to go to throw stuff down in.
Yeah, yeah. I remember even at some of my older jobs where I would actually implement the thing that I wanted to implement at work, but I would do it in my lab first and then come to my boss and say like, oh, here's how it works in my lab. And obviously like not perfect, right? You don't want to you don't want to be super confident about like nothing broke in my lab, so nothing's going to break in production either. But it's a decent first step. It's a good way to like figure out, you know, how GPOs work or
Oh
how
yeah,
command policies work and all that good stuff.
definitely. Yeah, playing with GPOs and prod, that's always fun.
Yeah, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Lab it out first. Check your
Yes.
like dev environments or whatever your workplace calls them. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that run through. That's super cool. So I know you have something to share. I'll bring up our little slide deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can access the course, but Anton was so gracious to also share a coupon code. So if you're jamming here today, I think there's quite a bit of people on LinkedIn when I search through. But yeah, if you're here today, run this code, and I assume that's under the buy now button. Yep.
Yeah. 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 You
Cool.
just yeah, when you when you do the checkout, I think there's a spot where you put the code. And then I think with this code it brings the course to under $100.
Oh wow.
Which is a pretty good deal, I think, for the
And
content.
lifetime.
Yeah, and lifetime access. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That is
So
cool.
yeah, I would love for folks to take it, give me feedback, finish it. I don't think anyone's actually finished it quite yet. So
Oh, wow.
I'm really excited for people to finish it and post their certificates and stuff. That'll bring me a lot of joy. So yeah, definitely take it. Give me feedback. If it sucks, tell me it sucks.
No,
But I
that's
hope it
cool. Doesn't look like it sucks. It looks like it's amazing.
yeah, it's always scary, right? When you put something like this
Yeah.
out here, it's a lot of like you're putting a lot of yourself out there too, right? Because it's like knowledge that you built up over a decade now. Geez, old, but yeah.
Yeah. I know. No, that's great though. I think for any level, I mean, even seeing Laurel on here, I know you've mentioned Laurel in the past for Linux and stuff, and
Yeah.
like I haven't even messed with that. You know, it's worthy to get into these little programs, not little, but it's worthy to get into these programs to, you know, keep learning about these different tools, especially because like if you don't have a Azure environment, you know, or a way to spin it up quickly or feel what's the right word, when you feel confident
Mm.
about spinning up Azure and deploying like Badger and things like that to it. Like it's nice to have a course that kind of walks you through things to build that confidence so that you can understand these things better, and see them in a sim. I mean, that's like perfect for folks getting into the industry. And like I remember working in like ArcSight, first time in a real sim. Here's ArcSight, have at it. And I'm like, how do you query them this thing? And they were like, oh yeah, it's right here. And I'm like, what else can I do?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
How does this thing work?
Yeah, the very first module in the course, we just literally you run who am I, and the query that you run is who am I. That's it.
Awesome.
There's no like that's how it starts, and then eventually you go down to like how to use the length operator, how to use slice and dice and regex, and then you kind of build on there. I should say too, like the actual like query language itself, as you like progress a little bit, I think it matters like less and less. uh you know, like the course uses sumo just because I happen to work there, but um the more like the ideas of how you would approach the detection and the telemetry itself, that's more I think that's more where the value is, because the actual like query part, you can translate that, and you know, there's stuff out there like Sigma that I would love to cover additionally in the course as well at some point.
I know a guy who
Yeah,
works on Sigma.
we do. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for giving us demo and walking us through some of the not so preview buttons on the front page. So
yeah, thank you very
it's
much for having
exciting.
me. Yeah, I'm excited as well.
Yeah, I thank you, and thank you everybody for joining and listening in. I'll leave the coupon code up because I think people are going to be too excited.
Write it down, folks.
People are very
So
excited.
I'll tweet about
Yes.
this too. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, thanks again. Are we going to see you for? Are we going to see you? Okay, I do have one other picture I could show. Are we going to see you for Purple March Madness?
Yeah, if you guys will.
I haven't invited you yet.
Yeah,
I'm inviting you now.
Okay. Then yes, you will. Yeah. I cordially accept. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yes. Awesome. Well, that'll be fun. Yeah. Great. Thank you again, Anton. And we
Awesome.
will
Thank you.
we'll catch
Paul.
up again very soon. Yeah, Paul,
sure.
He disappeared on us, so we'll find him.
Thank him anyways. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great weekend.